What is up guys, Jarv here, back today jumping into Destiny. We are back with another This Week in Destiny, giving you the full breakdown for the up and coming week. This week marks week 4 of Season of the Wish. We have a brand new exotic quest, the Wishkeeper exotic bow, a quick overview at the 4 exotic catalyst quests, a full breakdown of the weekly rituals, and so much more. So be sure to stick around and enjoy the video. If you do enjoy the video, be sure to leave a comment and rating down below, and remember to subscribe for more Destiny 2 content. We are well on our way to 200k, so make sure to hit that red button and ring that bell to ensure you don't miss an update. But without further delay guys, let's jump into the video. Another week and another This Week in Destiny. This week is week 4 of Season of the Wish, and with that we see the continuation of the Wishing All the Best quest. This is the main mission for Season 23, and this week we'll see us complete a mission called Apotheosis. This will bring us right up to speed, ahead of what will be a juicy week for story in week 5. So if you're not up to date on the seasonal quest moving into the festive period, then make sure to catch up, as in week 5, things start to get a little bit spicy. Speaking of spice, this week also sees the launch of Starcrossed, a new exotic mission into Destiny 2. This kicks off on the 19th of December, and here stars will guide us through the Dreaming City and beyond, and we'll need to complete this mission to claim the Wishkeeper exotic bow. If Anarchy and Hierarchy of Needs had a strand baby, this would be the offspring. Now this bow looks absolutely awesome, has its own ornament, and much like the Revision 0 exotic pulse rifle, this also has 4 individual refits which allow us to customize the weapon via its catalyst. These in fact all have their own individual catalyst quest called Constellation. Now these are called Lock, Pair, Tower and Wish, and each one will provide a different retrofit for the bow. Now these 4 retrofits include Enduring Snare. This allows the Snare Weaver perk to last longer, the Multi-Threaded Snare refit, where the Snare Weaver traps suspend more targets, Vorpal Weapon, which increases the damage against bosses, vehicles and guardians in their supers, or the Hatchling refit, where precision final blows or rapidly defeating targets with non-precision weapons spawn threadlings at the target's location. Now all 4 retrofit quests have different objectives, all of which take place over in a Dreaming City. So if you're looking to pick up this bow and also work on the catalysts, then make sure to jump into the Starcrossed mission upon this week's weekly reset. Now from here we're going to move on to the featured raid challenge for the Crota's End raid, and this week's challenge is called Precarious Balance. Now this takes place over in the bridge encounter, and guardians can't step on the bridge while it's fully built. Now one of the easiest way to do the bridge encounter is by enlightening as many players as you need first before taking the relic over to the other side and placing it in the pedestal. This will then allow the remaining players to focus purely on swords, making the rest of the encounter so much easier. Now if you and your team can pull this off, you'll get access to an additional raid chest and some sweet adept raid loot. Now speaking of raids, we're going to move on to the featured raid and dungeon content for week 4. This week's featured raid is the Vault of Glass, the original reprised raid in Destiny 2. Now as the featured raid, all the challenges will also be available, which is ideal if you're chasing down the time lost variants of the Vault of Glass weapons, and on top of that you can even farm Atheon, the final boss, for the Vex Mythoclast, the exotic fusion rifle exclusive to this raid. So if you don't have it right now, then make sure to jump into the Vault of Glass to get your hands on it. Now alongside the vault, we also see the return of the Shattered Throne as the featured dungeon, and much like the Vault of Glass being our original raid experience, the Shattered Throne was our original dungeon experience. That being said though, unlike the vault, this hasn't received an update and is very much in the need of some of that Bungie love. That being said though, Shattered Throne is still probably the best place to farm Essence of Dawning, so if you do decide to farm Dal Inkaru, you'll at least get additional loot throughout the course of the week. Now next up we're going to move on to the exotic mission Rotator, and this week's featured exotic mission is the Operation Seraph's Shield. Now this is the home to the Revision 0 exotic pulse rifle which we mentioned earlier. Now to access this mission you will need to either own the Witch Queen or Season of the Seraph, and as well as the exotic pulse there's also weapons and armor from Season of the Seraph 2. This includes the Fire and Forget, Tripwire Canary, Disparity, Path of Least Resistance, Judgment of Kelgoroth, and the Retrofit Escapade. That's alongside the Ikelos weapons, including the hand cannon, the shotgun, the sniper rifle, and the infamous SMG. And if you're chasing down the armor, even the Warmind's avatar armor set will be available. Now, these can drop during the activity or when you complete it, and can even drop deep sight resonance versions of them. So if you don't have all the weapon patterns for these amazing craftable weapons, then make sure to jump into Operation Seraph's Shield upon this week's weekly reset. Now from here we're going to move on to Dares of Eternity and the 30th Anniversary Pack activity, and alongside the Scatterhorn armor set from Forsaken, the Lightkin armor set from Season of the Splicer also returns. Naturally, with Splicer armor we do have all the Splicer weapons which are not craftable. These include the Chroma Rush, the Ignition Code, Grid Skipper, Farewell, Sojourner's Tale, Shattered Cipher, alongside the main ingredient, Long Shadow, The Last Dance, Toil and Trouble, Wishbringer, and The Last Perdition. Now the Splice weapons are some of the best looking weapons in the game, and as they're not craftable, you will need to grind them out if you're looking for god rolls on them. So if you're chasing down a good Chroma Rush or the god roll on the Ignition Code, make sure to jump into dares throughout the course of the week. Now from here we're going to move on to the weekly rituals, and we have a returning Nightfall and Grandmaster Nightfall for week 4. Grandmaster Nightfalls will be launching this week, and to celebrate there's also bonus ranks and also double rewards in the Vanguard Operations playlist. This includes Nightfall and Grandmaster Nightfalls, which will allow you to easily reset Zavala over in the tower if you're looking to earn the ritual weapon, but also get double drops on the Nightfall exclusive weapon. Now the Nightfall for this week though is the Lake of Shadows. Now this got a rework, as it was a speedrunner's favourite previously, which is now seeing completion times extended ever so slightly. That being said though, it isn't one of the most difficult Nightfalls in a rotation, and should be an easy source for bonus ranks and double rewards throughout the course of the week. Now moving on to the Crucible, we see Checkmate Control alongside Supremacy and Showdown as the 3 featured Crucible modes. And with no Iron Banner in effect, Trials of Osiris will also return upon this weekend's Friday reset. Now next up we're going to move on to the Lost Sector calendar for week 4. This week kicks off over in the Quarry, and we'll be offering exotic helmets. On Wednesday you can head over to Aphelian's Rest for a chance at exotic boots, with the Bay of Drowned Wishes on Thursday offering exotic gauntlets. The Chamber of Starlight will be back on Friday offering exotic chess pieces, with the Perdition being available over the weekend on Saturday offering another shot at exotic helmets. Sunday can be found over in the Bunker E15 with some exotic boots, and we round out the week over in the Concealed Void offering exotic gauntlets. Now throughout the week you will also be able to farm world drop weapons, and these will rotate on a daily basis whilst also looping every 4 days. So if there's a particular weapon that you're after, then make sure to plan your week accordingly. And if you want to check out this calendar in full for yourself, make sure to do so over in Today in Destiny, and I'll leave the link to that down in the video description below. Now to wrap up for this week, we're going to move on to the seasonal challenges, and there are just 6 seasonal challenges for week 4. The first is called Wish Seeker 4, and he needs to complete week 4 of the Wishing All the Best quest. That's followed by Wishing Well, and he needs to open chests in Riven's Lair and the Coil activity. That's followed by Foes of the Dragon Vex. So you need to defeat Vex anywhere in the system, and defeating Vex in Riven's Lair or the Coil will grant additional progress. Now the next challenge is currently classified and is likely linked to the Star-Crossed exotic quest. Next we have Gotta Win Them All, so he needs to complete activities in the Vanguard, Gambit or Crucible playlist, and bonus progress is granted for completed Vanguard playlist activities at Hero difficulty or higher, or winning Gambit or Crucible matches. And the final challenge for week 4 is called Grandmaster, and he needs to complete any Nightfall Strike on the Grandmaster difficulty. So there we have it guys, a good look on everything that you can expect for week 4 of Season of the Wish. If you've enjoyed this video, be sure to check out one of the 2 videos you see here in these cards for more Destiny 2 content. And if you want to keep up to date with everything to do with Destiny 2, then be sure to hit subscribe as well. I'm going to pick up the game as always guys, and I will catch you all again very soon.